Woosa, wake up South Africa. You've been sleeping far too long. Wake up South Africa. Now come along and sing this song. Wake up South Africa.
Welcome to WUSA 108 Sunday Inspiration. My name is Itumeleng Mpake and I will be your host this afternoon. So please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and a very warm welcome to everybody. So today, Sunday Inspiration is themed gratitude. And we're so fortunate to have Her Grace Vrajalila Devidasi and His Grace Ekavira Prabhu, who are no strangers to Sunday Inspiration. And we're very fortunate that they are back in good health and they're able to take us through this Sunday Inspiration. So I'd like to welcome them both here. The theme today is gratitude, and I will hand over to you both.
Haribol, Hare Krishna, welcome. Thank you so much.
We are grateful to be here.
Thank you for that amazing introduction, Itu. And Sarva Prabhu, Wusa, we're happy. We're so happy. And so finally, we're able to come and be with all of you.
So the topic is gratitude is our shelter. So how will we? Oh, yes.
So sorry. We just want to say a prayer before we start. Nama Om Vishnu Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani. Nirvishesha Sunyavari Pashatya Nama Om Vishnu Krishna Prasad Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Taram. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shitabmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you again for the wonderful introduction. And we express again that we have a wealth of gratitude for WUSA and the many devotees throughout the world that are our well wishers and offering prayers that we would come through this particular illness.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And unfortunately, or fortunately, there's one particular devotee here in Gitanagri who also contracted the virus, who is actually probably going to leave soon. And we offer this brief discussion on gratitude to him. And his name is His Grace Bali Maharaj Prabhu. His Grace Bali Maharaj Prabhu Ki Jai.
Hari Hari.
As a
So yes, this is Bali Prabhu, and yes, he was in Chaupati at the festival, the flower festival, Pushpabhishek, and this was his first. Well, yeah, this was his first time
to Chaupati.
To Chaupati.
Second time to
second time to the Holy Dham. Second time he was in. First time he was in the Holy Dham. I mean, Chaupati is also the Holy Dham, but anyway, this is a picture of him there, so he is right now leaving his body. So please, we're in between being with someone that's leaving his body and being here. So Ekavira Prabhu may need to go because we could get a call at any time that he needs to be there.
Okay. So gratitude is our shelter. Srila Rupa Goswami expresses that gratitude is a transcendental quality of the mind. This is something that is it's the basis for spiritual life and spiritual development. He also expresses that a grateful person never forgets the benefits that he received from others. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he defines gratitude as a debt that can never be repaid, and that arises from the privilege of serving the Lord. And so Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he's written many books, and one of them is the Making Your Mind the Best Friend, Spiritual Warrior series, Spiritual Warrior 4. And he expresses that gratitude is appreciating what Krishna has already done. And so if we look at the different things in our lives, no matter how large or how small, we can always find those things in which Krishna has intervened in our lives and has assisted us in our development to who we are today. And so over the past 50 years, there's been many studies examining different spiritual practitioners and questioning these practitioners about their emotions and attitudes that are prominent in their spiritual development, and the overwhelming attitude places number one in their spiritual development is this attitude of gratitude. And so Radhanath Swami, he expresses that, and I want to read this because it's so sweet. He said, in order for the seed of bhakti, devotion to the Lord, to actually grow, there must be soft and fertile ground. And so this gratitude makes our heart soft, and gratitude fertilizes the heart. Gratitude enables the seed of bhakti to grow. When we expect, when we think we deserve, when we want something very different than what we are getting from Krishna, Guru, the Vaishnava, this is a symptom of being ungrateful. And so there are many different quotes upon, gratitude.
Yeah, tons.
So many different quotes upon gratitude. And I never forget one particular quote in which is expressed that, if we aren't grateful for what we have received at this point in time, then we will unlikely be grateful for receiving anything else. And so gratitude has this basis in understanding that Krishna is the seed, Krishna is the center of everyone's existence. The Lord is the center of all of our existence, no matter what particular spiritual tradition that we practice, no matter what religion we practice, the Lord is the center of our activities, and the gratitude, everything that comes to us comes from Him. And so there's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 3rd canto, that expresses, what grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to him for protection, though the unrighteous man finds it difficult to propitiate him. And so this particular mood of gratitude is, like we said, it has a seed. Spiritual development has a seed in this mood of gratitude, and that we can actually express our gratitude in many different ways. One of the ways in which we express our gratitude is very, very simple. And that's just to, use this word, these two words, thank you. But then there's also another component. We can speak in words. However, by engaging in the reciprocation, that's the other aspect of exemplifying gratitude, by showing our gratitude by engaging in some service and some reciprocation to the person that we are grateful to. And that goes back to Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's definition of gratitude. Just never forgetting the benefits that we have received from others. And so there's also Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj in this book of making your mind your best friend. And he expresses that this attitude of gratitude can develop when we have the understanding that we were just speaking about, that everything rests upon the Lord. And that is a verse in Bhagavad Gita in which Krishna expresses that there's no truth superior to me, and everything rests upon me as pearls are strung upon a thread. So there are many different situations that we can express and be grateful for. And there are many different things that take place in the world that we really can't be grateful for. We see so many different things going on in the world that how can I be grateful for this situation going on? How can I be grateful for that? So we're not saying that, everything in this particular arena in the world is something that we should be grateful for. However, in every situation that we're in, we can have gratitude for being in that situation ourselves. And Bhakti Tirtha Swami expresses that if we have this particular mood, the attitude of gratitude in every situation that we are in, we can always develop and grow spiritually.
Hey, that sounds a little like, okay,
Yes.
You can be grateful for some things that are going on, but not grateful. And so can you share a little bit more about that, Ekavira? What does that mean? I want to be grateful, but there's definitely some things I'm like, I'm not sure I can be grateful about that.
Yes, as we expressed that there are situations in the world that go on. We see there examples of persons that are being abused, persons that are experiencing different calamities. We see that all around us. And unless we understand the nature of the arena, we can't really understand why these things are actually taking place. And that's the importance of understanding not only the attitude of gratitude, but the attitude of gratitude that is favorable for devotional service. Because we can have a positive attitude for practically anything. Attitude of gratitude. Even a thief has an attitude of gratitude and even praise. Thank you, dear Lord, for not letting me get caught in this given situation. So we want to remember that the attitude of gratitude must be also favored for our spiritual development. Attitude of gratitude. And so if we look at things in that way, those situations that we find ourselves in, we can make constant growth. Now, this is expressed so simply, but this is something that is not easy. And that's the reason why we have help. We have help through the scriptures, the Shastras. We have help through our particular mentors, and we have help through those great souls that are in our midst the other devotees.
Like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting when we speak about gratitude, because bhakti is a path, right? We're walking, we're on this path, we're on this road, so to speak. And let's say if we just kind of take a minute and we kind of visualize our road that we're walking. And on that road, it's a road of gratitude. It's a road of gratitude. And so, there's so many things that may be there on that road, right? We may have mountains and rocks and hills and, that might kind of just let us stop a little bit before we can really be grateful for something. And this is the path of bhakti. We're walking this path, and on this path, we may encounter, so many different, what we might term as obstacles. And the closer we are moving on this path towards loving God, towards being in relationship with God, the more we're able to access this mood of gratitude. And so that's example is given to us by like Queen Kunti, right? She was on that path of walking in that relationship with the Lord. And so she's like completely grateful because she's in that relationship with God, with Krishna. And so Kunti Devi, she experienced so many different obstacles on the road, right? There's so many heartaches, so many breakdowns, from her husband to her children to so many different ways that she experienced different kinds of losses in her life. And even towards the end, of her experience, we see that, her daughter-in-law is begging Krishna, to save this child in the womb because the child was going to get burnt. And so, here is this personality, Kunti, that is so grateful. She's so grateful. She's there with the Lord, and she's just expressing her gratitude. And this other person, she is just praying to the Lord to just save my child. Save my child. She was convinced that only God could save her child. Only Krishna could save her child. So she was in that mood also of gratitude. Now, as we are all walking this path of gratitude, some of our obstacles, it may be not so easy to say, oh, my dear Lord, my dear Krishna, I have so much gratitude for putting this mountain on my path. I have so much gratitude for putting these rocks on my path. I have so much gratitude. It may not be so easy for some of us that are walking the path, because we may not have this full conviction of loving God. And that's a process. That's like Ekavira Prabhu was saying, we're growing in this process. So I wanted to kind of share some of this growth process with you from my perspective. And I just want to share a story of how I started under kind of accessing more gratitude in my life, becoming more aware of how important it is to be grateful. So as you all know, we're disciples of Bhakti Maharaj. And when Bhakti Maharaj left his body, we were, of course, devastated, because we served him for many, many years. So we were very devastated. Even though we'd been studying the philosophy for so many years, we couldn't quite access gratitude for his departure, because it's like Srila Prabhupada and his disciples. We see that even today, Srila Prabhupada's disciples, when they speak about Srila Prabhupada, you can hear that they have they still feel separation from Srila Prabhupada, any of Srila Prabhupada's disciples that you hear. At the same time, we also hear how grateful they are for what they received from Srila Prabhupada. Now, to get to that place of receiving whatever comes, it's like a process. It's walking on the path. And so as I was on this path, I couldn't access gratitude when my spiritual master left his body. It was a little difficult for me. And so the people used to ask me, I remember we had taken his ashes to Mayapur Dham, where His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he actually built the samadhi for our spiritual master there. And so we were there with the ashes, waiting for this little samadhi, not little, it's one of the most beautiful samadhis in Mayapur to be built. And we had this amazing relationship with His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, where he personally came to instruct us what to do and how to do. And so as we were waiting in Mayapur, I remember I was studying Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto with Burajan Prabhu, His Grace Burajan Prabhu. And I would just go from where I was staying to go to the class and back. I wouldn't want to see anybody. I wouldn't want to really connect with anyone. I was just like, I just want to hear, because, you know, just want to hear, and I just want to go back. Because I was just really like sad. And so devotees, though, on my little path, walking back and forth with Common, they would ask me, how are you? How are you doing? How are you? And I was like, no, this is not working. And sometimes devotees would, like senior devotees, you know, they would want to get me back in service, you know, like, so there is, at that time, Sacharas Prabhu was writing a book on my Guru Maharaj. And he was like, few devotees would ask, like, okay, have you given, you know, your, you know, sharing on your spiritual master, you know, like this? And I would be, I don't want to talk about it, you know? So one day, I remember very clearly as this was going on, it's almost like the Lord in the heart, you know, God is in our hearts. And so sometimes, you know, we might hear, sometimes we hear, some, you know, we hear, you know, if we're still enough. And I was very still because I was in myself. And so I heard this voice saying, because I didn't know what to say. And so I would just say, I'm grateful. And that's how my journey on gratitude started. People would say, how are you? What's going on? I said, I'm grateful. That's it. And then I would, that would give me like, okay, I could leave now, because people just like, they don't ask me, they didn't ask me, well, what are you grateful for? Well, what's, you know, just like, okay, she's grateful. Oh, that must mean she's okay. You know, we can leave her alone. So it started like that. However, it was, it was an empty sense of gratitude. I was saying the words and it didn't have real meaning, you know, in terms of being grateful. However, as I kept studying the Bhagavatam, and I started reading these pastimes of people that were in distress, especially Queen Kunti, she's one of my favorites, and how she was still grateful, I started like really exploring this theme of gratitude, you know, and then I started feeling within my heart, you know, like, yeah, I'm grateful. What am I grateful for? I'm grateful that I'm still in the association of people that love God. I'm grateful that there are people that are caring enough about me to ask me, how are you doing? So it changed from that sense of being so distressed and so, you know, disconnected to the sense of, yeah, you know, there's something to be really grateful for. And so this gratitude, it really begins in the womb. You know, when a child is in the womb, they're going through so many discomforts being in the womb of a mother. And they're praying to the Lord. They're praying, thanking the Lord, you know, because they're aware of the Lord in the womb. However, when we come out of the womb, then we connect with material energy, and we connect with material nature, and we connect with all the different things in this world, then there's a tendency that we forget that we were grateful as we were in the womb. So this mood of gratitude, as Ekavira said, it is an attitude. It's also an action. It's also something to do. And one of the first ways that I understood as I walked my path of gratitude, that is based on really being aware of what can I offer? How can I serve Krishna? What can I do? What can I do? And how can I reciprocate with whatever Krishna sends to me, whatever that may be, whether it's something that make me happy or it's something that make me sad. How can I reciprocate with, as Ekavira Prabhu said, thank you, Krishna. Thank you, dear Lord. Thank you for sending this to me, because this will awaken me. So just to move on from this little short pastime, what this pastime has done of entering into that mood of gratitude, it's like made my path so much wider, because now I am really understanding this mood of gratitude in terms of what can I offer back to the world, on behalf of Krishna, or I'm offering as a service to Krishna. What can I offer back as a service? So it has brought me now to this place where what I can offer on behalf of the or on behalf of my spiritual master, to the Lord as an offering, is to bring awareness, to people about loss. What does that really mean? What does it mean to have loss in our lives? And how can we be grateful for the losses that we experience in our lives? So I'm very grateful that that this path have opened. It was such a narrow road for me at a point, and now it's open wider, because now there's light in terms of walking this path, that, oh yes, now you can study, which I'm very fortunate that I'm being a part of Karuna Care, Karuna Care is dedicated to helping us to understand how to care for others that have experienced losses in their life. And so that's a great way for me to really express my gratitude. And that's a great way, like I'm able to say, thank you, Krishna. Yes, that someone leaving is difficult, especially someone that is our guide or a mentor, a teacher. It's very difficult. At the same time, if we're grateful, it brings us so much learning, so much awareness, so much love, actually, which brings us closer to that relationship with Krishna. So Ekavira Prabhu.
And Vrajalila touched on the prayers of Queen Kunti, and Queen Kunti, of course, begging for calamities to come again and again and again, because through those calamities, she's able to reflect on the Lord. And this particular type of prayer that's pretty intense. And how many of us actually are in the mindset of praying like this, to ask for, calamities to come upon us. And so sometimes we may not, well, not sometimes, many times we may find that we're just not there at that particular point. And so that is the reason why it's so important to be grateful for how Krishna is working through our lives with the many different devotees that come into our lives to assist us in accessing this mood of gratitude. And of course, there is one thing that is also extremely important in developing this mood of gratitude, and that's through the mood of prayer, praying to the Lord to develop this mood of gratitude. So we may not have the mood of Queen Kunti. And of course, the Vaishnava Acharyas expressed that the ultimate of all prayers is to pray for pure devotional service. Everything else is provided. Everything else is provided, as we expressed that Bhakti Swami is sharing, and Krishna expressing in the Bhagavad Gita. Everything is, Krishna is the center, and yes, everything is strung upon me like pearls upon the thread. I'm drawing a blank here in the COVID moment.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we may not be at that particular point, of even just asking for pure devotional service, but it's expressed that Krishna is our mother, Krishna is our father, Krishna is our best friend, Krishna is our life and soul. The Lord wants to see us develop and grow, and he's not that type of person that just thinks you're only supposed to come to me for pure devotional service. We can come to the Lord in any condition that we are in. It's important for us to come to the Lord with an honest heart, an honest heart.
Mm.
And that's we can, and we must be honest with ourselves. Sometimes I express that, it's even more important to be honest with ourselves than to be honest with the Lord. And I remember saying this to someone, and they said, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, we lie to the Lord every day. We can lie to the Lord every day. Oh, dear Lord, you get me out of this situation, I'll never do it again, only to find ourselves back in that same situation. So we're not being honest with ourselves, and then therefore we're not honest with anyone else, including the Lord. So we must be honest with ourselves and understand our precarious position. We may not be in the mood of Queen Kunti, so we can express it. Dear Lord, you know me better than I know myself. You know my qualities, know my struggles. Please, please help me. And there's this one particular prayer we find, and of course in devotional service, there's two principles that are important in our spiritual development, and that's accepting those things favorable for devotional service and rejecting those things that are unfavorable. And so there's this one prayer that is quite popular worldwide, and that's the Serenity Prayer. Mm. And we understand the Serenity. Many persons have heard the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the strength. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. At the same time, that's the beginning of the Serenity Prayer. There are other aspects, there's more of that Serenity Prayer. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. Taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that he will make things right if I surrender to his will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever and ever in the next. So even in this particular prayer, he's praying for understanding when he has these particular calamities, hardships, accepting these hardships as a pathway to peace. And so,
yeah, and Ekavira, what's nice about that is we think, okay, only us, we are the ones to be grateful, to God, but God, Krishna, is grateful to us also. And so there's this beautiful story of the Lord in our scriptures where these servants of the Lord, they're called the gopis. If there's anyone here that may be new to devotional life. So there's these servants, they serve God, just like we're serving God. So they serve God very intimately, very closely. And once the Lord was thinking, what can I possibly give to these servants? They're so dedicated, they're so surrendered. They've given everything to me. What can I possibly give to them? There's nothing I can give because everything is within him. Everything is within the Lord. He has everything. He is everything. And so he's saying, I can't, there's nothing I can give. God, he says, everything is within me and you own it. You own me. So there is a place and time in our spiritual development where we become owners of the Lord. We actually own the Lord, and the Lord accepts that with joy. It's like he's so grateful that we are like, oh yeah, I belong to you, belong to me, I belong to you. We belong to each other. And so God said, Krishna said, the only thing I could give you, only thing I can give you is thank you, thank you, thank you. And so the thank you, the reward is to engage in service to the Lord. That's the reward. We all get this reward, all of us, as soon as we get an opportunity, to connect with a devotee of the Lord. We get a book introduces us, or hearing the Maha Mantra, the chanting of the holy names. We get the mercy of a spiritual master. We are given the entrance into this beautiful place where God thanks us, the Lord thanks us. And so this is the wonderful path of bhakti that we're on, and that we're walking this path of bhakti, and it's so beautiful, and it's paved with this mood of gratitude. Bhakti cannot be separated from gratitude. Gratitude is a mother of virtue, the mother of all wonderful, beautiful, beautiful qualities. And even the Lord himself expresses this quality. One couple of things that I wanted to share is how we express that with each other here as we're walking our path, as we're walking this path of gratitude. Each of us is walking it, and we're all having different experiences and how we are expressing it. One of the ways that we can, express gratitude is very simple, because we are creatures of words. Somehow, most of us, we forgot how to communicate through body language. Many. In ancient times, in ancient cultures, people could talk to each other without speaking words. However, in modernity, our way of communication now is through words. And so one way that we can express gratitude through words is simply to use kind words, to be kind. And that's not easy. Just walking that path of using kind words can be very challenging. So there's so many ways that we can express this kind words. So I remember reading this letter when His Holiness Bhakti Charumarj left the planet, that came from the devotees in Ujjain, his servants in Ujjain. And they sent out a letter to all the devotees. And in this letter, they were saying they were sad because their spiritual master had left. And however, they were saying, our spiritual master inspired us to create this place here in Ujjain, to make this beautiful place where Vaishnavas can come and experience devotional life. And they said, however, he said, and this place is here, and we want to keep this legacy. We want people to keep coming. However, what we would like to do is just share our gratitude to all of those devotees that have supported us as we are experiencing this sadness of our spiritual master, our spiritual teacher, not being here with us. So that letter was sent all over the world. These devotees were so conscientious to be grateful. And that's one of the ways that we can express our gratitude, is to be grateful for those that are around us. Because we never know when those around us, we never know, death can come at any time for all of us. And we can be as healthy as anything and walk outside and get hit by a car, or anything can happen, anything. So in that mood of showing gratitude for each other, I'd like Sarva to share this little video in offering our gratitude to this great personality that's leaving his body here in Gitanagari. So we have a short little video for you to see. Savasachi Prabhu, I hope you can, this is a personality that is always, always grateful, always grateful. This, yeah.
Radhe
Yeah, he was 79. He did not get on the path of Bhakti until he was 49 years old. He found, the devotees found him. Our spiritual master found him. He was brought into the association of the devotees at 49. And for 25 years plus, I think, a little more, he was the pujari for Gauranitai here in our community. We just celebrated his 80th birthday just a few months ago, and we were dancing with him because he loved to dance. He loved to dance. He loved to sing the holy names of the Lord. He was always very compassionate. He was non-judgmental. He wasn't critical. He never found, you could never say to him something not so nice about another person. He would just look at you and go, and you would think, did he hear me? Just would not respond, just didn't connect with it. He just wasn't, he just wanted to love the devotees, he just was so grateful to be in the association of the devotees because he came at such a late, age in his life. Most of the time, people find Bhakti, if they're fortunate, early. And he was always smiling, always smiling, always smiling. Bali Maharaj, always happy. Something about Bali Maharaj that I wanted to share is that he was like a father to Ekavira Prabhu. He was like a father, like a friend. And so when we were to give this class, Ekavira said, I don't know if I can speak on gratitude today. Because of course, when somebody that you're very close to is leaving, there's sadness. And so he was, and so I was saying, okay, well, it's okay if you just really think you're not able to. However, he is, and now I am, he is trained as a devotee care chaplain, as a companion for devotees with loss. So I said, you have this training. So let's apply this training. At the same time, even with the training, it doesn't mean we don't connect with our emotions. And so Ekavira right now, I'm sure there's some sadness with all of us as this devotee goes back to the spiritual world. But at the same time, we're so happy because my spiritual master will direct him and he will be hugged and Krishna will say, thank you, thank you.
That's Bali Maharaj. He's like the emblem of this mood or attitude of gratitude. That was the basis of his existence. And so anyone that comes in contact with him, they also are infected with this particular mood of gratitude because he is just, that's what he exemplifies. And on one particular occasion when Bhakti Maharaj was traveling, and we were preparing for him to travel to West Africa. Vrajalila asked, and it was Vrajalila, I, and Bali with Bhakti Swami. And Vrajalila asked, he said, do you have any instruction for us while you're traveling? And he said, yes, take care of Bali Maharaj because he's going to take us all back to Godhead. And so, and you see in this particular, video that Bali is showing his gratitude for chanting the holy names, showing his gratitude for being in association of devotees. And even in his hospital bed now, when he hears the Maha Mantra, when I was there with him in the hospital, and we were chanting with Kadamba Kandana Maharaj. And yes, he reached out and put his hands up and then turned them over to grab my hands. And so I grabbed his hands and I said, you want to dance? And so we just swung back and forth to the kirtan. And this is Bali Maharaj and his mood of gratitude. And again, we dedicate this particular session to him.
We thank you very much.
Thank
and
you so
I'm
much.
grateful that Ekavira Prabhu was able to be with us this whole time. Thank you. He's gonna go and be with Bali. Everyone, we don't know when Krishna will arrange for him to leave to make this transition. However, many devotees are chanting with him, and we're all joyful in many ways. At the same time, we're sad because he was such an inspiration for all of us. We're so grateful for this great soul that came in our midst and helped us, taught us so much. And so with that, we beg you, please be grateful for everyone. Everyone. It doesn't matter whether you think they're exalted or not. Just be grateful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
Hare Krishna. Wow, way to begin. Thank you very much, Mother Vrajalila and Ekavira Prabhu. Thank you for sharing your heart with us and just the moment that you're going through right now. Thank you for bringing us into that experience with you through this very seemingly overwhelming theme. Yeah, our heart goes out to you both and to your dear friend. And yeah, we pray that he has a safe journey and hope we can be there with him. So thank you very much, Ekavira, for your time as well, under the circumstances. I just also wanted to point out that Savya Sachipugu did send a message. He said that he had to leave. Unfortunately, there was a poor scheduling, so he had to go to another session. But he sent his apologies and he says that he's really thankful for your association and he's grateful that you could be here today, but he had to leave early. So I'm going to open the floor for any questions or reflections. Anyone would like to raise their hand, please do that or post in the chat. And if there's any questions on Facebook, could you please let me know, because I'm not able to access that. So while I wait, if for any questions, I have a few.
We lose it.
Did we lose you, Itu?
Okay, I can hear you, but I think there might be a bit of a delay. Are you able to hear me as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll just ask my question. My question, I'll start with the first one, is about the relationship between gratitude and loyalty. And I can't remember at what point that question came to mind, but more in relation to the attitude of gratitude. And I often remember the past time with Draupadi and when she was being disrobed, and all of the elderly, men weren't able to help her because of their loyalty to the Kauravas. And so I'm just kind of curious about the relationship, the proper attitude.
Okay, if I'm clear with your question, the attitude of Draupadi, the attitude of Draupadi not being protected by the elders, and how do we express gratitude in that situation? Is that the question, Itu? Okay. That's Manolo. Okay. Itu, I just want I would like some clarification on the question, please. Just a little bit of clarification. Okay, so maybe, can you hear me, Bonolo? Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Okay, so we will answer Bonolo's question because I can't hear from Itu. I just wanted clarification from Itu. How do we best show gratitude to our mentors who have taught us crucial tools, but still after many decades are still dealing with their loss? Hare Krishna. Nice question.
That's a really, really deep question. In dealing with our mentors, as we expressed earlier, one of the ways in which we express our gratitude is to reciprocate, and reciprocate in this particular case in the mood of service. Understanding that, you know, these persons have had such a profound effect on our individual lives. We must always keep that in the forefront of our consciousness, the appreciation for these persons and what they have given to us. And if they have brought us to Krishna consciousness, this is something as like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur expresses, that this is a debt that we cannot repay. But we can try through this mood of service. And so, first of all, is having that mindset to appreciate this mentor, because we also could consider that, you know, okay, this person is a mentor. How can they still be going through this particular, you know, dealing with their loss? Each and every one of us are on the progressive path of bhakti, even our mentors. You know, there are some, of course, who are uttama, and they just come to the world to actually assist and be used as an instrument to bring others back home, back to Godhead. But the vast majority are still also progressing themselves. And so that's another point we have to keep in mind, that we're all in the shower. And there's another particular prayer that comes to mind, that it says that if not for the grace of God, go I. Meaning that, you know, if it not for the grace of the Lord, I would be in a similar situation, and how would I deal with that in that situation? You know, how would I actually handle the situation? And so therefore, we have to remain as have the quality of Bali Maharaj, being non-judgmental. And then we can also express to other persons that appears of a particular mentor that this mentor, I love and respect them and have a wealth of gratitude for them and what they've done in my life. And I see some pain. And so out of concern, is there any way that you as their peer could actually, you know, approach them and assist them in this particular, dealing with their loss? We all have losses. The unfortunate thing is that we can go through a lifetime without understanding our losses and the impact that it has had on us and how we actually interact with others. When there's one particular exercise that's done in pastoral care, and that's a loss history graph. And when one engages in that particular loss history and examines the losses in their lives, we can see patterns that affect us even late in our lives. patterns that developed in our childhood, that we can still see how it affects us in interacting with others.
Mm.
And so the peers can assist mentors in dealing with their particular losses. You want to add anything to it?
Yeah, I was just thinking, Manolo, thank you for that question, because sometimes people, it's like Ekavira said, it's a deep question. Sometimes we can see people experience losses and they go like into depression, you know, because that it's just so difficult for them to accept the loss. So acceptance is key, acceptance of losses and understanding ultimately our teachings, our philosophy, you know, that ultimately everything is arranged by the divine order of the Lord, you know, and as Ekavira Prabhu said, you know, to be able to have some resources that if there is some concern that the person is lingering in depression, that we can ask, we can request from someone else to please, you know, maybe just reach out, you know, to this person. Sometimes though, a person like he said, they got to go through their journey, you know, their journey of dealing with their loss. And like for me, as I said, it just came in my heart that I somehow that word gratitude, just say you're grateful. And that was just because I wanted to get away from everybody. I'm grateful, gone, you know, and that became, this gratitude just unfolded in my life in incredible ways. So Krishna is also there in our hearts.
Itu,
Itu is back. Itu is back, and we wanted to clarify your question. And I think Banola had another question. Itu?
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. Yes, so my question was basically about the relationship between gratitude and loyalty. In a broader sense, for example, you know, we feel within the Bhakti context, for example, we feel gratitude for, you know, the devotees, the processors, Srila Prabhupada. But then there may be like really, I think, deep impacts or deep circumstances that can be very disappointing. And you feel that it may not necessarily be a place for you anymore, but you have the strong sense of gratitude, and it's kind of difficult to grapple with that. You know, you feel a sense of gratitude to what you received, but you also feel that, you know, you can't necessarily be loyal in a certain situation, in the same situation anymore. So you balance, you know, feeling grateful, but also not necessarily loyal or loyal to the point we can't move forward, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ekavira talked earlier about like certain things that we may or may not be grateful for. For example, he was speaking of like abuses, and you know, like how can a woman be grateful if she's been abused? You know, that's kind of, I mean, we do need to become aware, you know, of what we are accepting in our lives. It's very important. And so we may at some point in our life be grateful that for what we learned from that situation. And maybe just in general in life, there are so many things we're learning from that may be adverse, you know, and we may be grateful for that adversity at the time. However, as you are saying, do we stay loyal to an adverse situation that is not nurturing our bhakti? You know, no, we don't do that. At the same time, we can be grateful. Oh, Krishna, thank you. You showed me this. I'm out of here. I'm out of this, you know, and thank you. And that's it. You know, I'm moving on. And we don't go back in that situation.
I wanted to point out that in that particular situation, there is always something great. And that is the point that Vrajalila just made. We can be grateful for the intelligence that Krishna has given us to not remain in that given situation. Grateful for the intelligence to move away. And so, yeah.
Yeah, because thank you, Ekavira. That's the intelligence Krishna gives us. We're not loyalists for untruth. We're loyalists for truth. And truth impacts us by making us joyful. If something is not making us joyful in relationship to service to the Lord, then we let it go. We let it go, and we're grateful that Krishna brought that on our path. It's like maybe it was like a mountain, and you're like, whoa, I'm like, oh, I'm over that mountain. Haribo, yeah, I know what that is. I'm not gonna create a mountain like that again. You know, because ultimately we create these things in our lives anyway. But Bonolo, is that okay for you, Itu? Do you want to add anything to that, Itu? You're a wealth of wisdom also. So you're not also, you are a wealth of wisdom. Where it's very unhumble of me to say also, because that sounds like I'm saying we're a wealth of wisdom. That's not what I meant. Words, you know, gotta be careful.
That was helpful. Nothing to add further, but that was helpful. I'll just read the comment, I think question actually from Bonolo again, is how do we practice gratitude? Or was that already spoken about? How do we practice gratitude in its true sense? Is that answered already?
Maybe it was we spoke about it. However, we can be more clear. Ekavira Prabhu, because that was something you spoke about. How do we practice in its true sense? In its true sense.
Let me just finish the entire one. I wasn't sure what question was already answered or not because I just connected. But it was, how do we practice gratitude in its true sense? Appreciate things we have now instead of focusing much on what we don't have and what we want in the future.
Yeah, that's a deep question.
Yeah.
Sorry, there are two Bonolos on the call, so it was probably a second Bonolo.
Okay. Yes, this gratitude. We reflected on that particular quote earlier. If we are grateful for that which we have received, we will unlikely be grateful for receiving anything else. And we see this particular mood in the world. Through this COVID situation, there was a report that indicated that there were, I think there was something like 100 billionaires made during the COVID crisis. And so new billionaires, that is. And those persons in that category, it's very rare that they're satisfied with what they actually have. They have more resources that they can ever utilize in one lifetime at the same time, still not satisfied. Still not satisfied. And so this sense of appreciation, as Radhanath Swami, if we aren't grateful for that which we receive, that's just, it's not a seed in which bhakti or devotion can actually fructify. So Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj expresses that there are certain things that can help foster this mood of gratitude. And Vrajalila touched on that, and we talked about Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur. We talked about the second aspect of gratitude, being thankful, but then also reciprocating by engaging in some service, selfless service. And by developing the sense of selflessness, that helps to cultivate this mood of gratitude. And sharing those things that are very important to us. Vrajalila learned one, it's a tool. One way of developing more of the mood of gratitude is to actually give gifts, but not only give gifts, but give that which you like the most. So that thing that you like the most, give it away. And she practices, sometimes you have to pull it out of her hands, but no, she no, she practices. She really does. And for me, it's such a struggle. It's like, oh man, I really appreciate this. But this is something that helps to cultivate this mood of gratitude and understanding that, yes, these are just particular things. And this desire to have more, it's very, very subtle. And to actually help to remove this subtle desire, he's giving, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj gave her a tool to actually nibble away from this subtle desire to attain more things, or things that we, that are not necessarily beneficial for us in our lives. And that's by giving things away that we really appreciate.
Yeah, something that we learned from Bali, and this is a lesson, is from him, Bali Maharaj, is always remember to smile. Remember to smile, be patient. Yeah, be patient even when the mountains come. Be patient. Listen, practice listening to ourselves, what's going on with ourselves. Go into some of the memories that you're grateful for. Try to do this as a meditation, maybe every day. Today, what am I grateful for yesterday? What happened yesterday? At least one thing that might have happened yesterday that I'm grateful for. And express kindness through our words. When not speaking, words, they're like windows, or they could be like walls. Am I creating walls in my relationships with people when I speak? Or am I creating windows where people can just look through and see beautiful things? And if we practice, these are basic life things, right? It's not, we're not like giving you high philosophy, to do. Where at least I don't do that. I'm like, let's work with what we got here, living in this world of these bodies. So I can smile. I can smile even when it's hard and difficult. It's if I can remember, and it's all about remembering. Ultimately, our path back to Godhead is about remembering. Our path back to our relationship with Krishna, it's about remembering. So if we remember to be, as our Guru Maharaj said and Ekavira shared, this attitude of gratitude. A person that's grateful is smiling, is happy, even when it's hard, even when it's difficult. When my spiritual master was leaving his body, so when the soul leaves the body, it's not easy to leave. It's difficult to get out of a body. And when he was leaving his body, he said, "It does not get better than this."
This is a time when he was in excruciating pain. It doesn't get any better than
Does
this.
not get any better than this. And we know that he's in pain. We knew he was in pain.
I'm hearing glories of the Lord, and with association of saintly personalities, Radha Swami was
Yes.
with him.
Yes.
And I'm tasting the nectar of the holy name.
Yes. So ultimately, we gave you some secular things to meditate on. And then, of course, there is the chanting, as Ekavira Prabhu said.
And he expressed that, in his book, attitude is crucial. And just as Vrajalila exemplified when she was struggling and on the departure, when we both were struggling with the departure of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, whenever she was asked how she was doing, she reflected, even if she wasn't at that point in time, she said, "I'm grateful." Because if we can actually learn that, when we have a certain mood or emotion that comes, we can always change the channel. Mother Kalini, one of the devotees that used to be there, we can always change the channel. And just reflecting on the mood of gratitude, just by saying it, "I'm grateful," then we can think about those things that we are actually grateful for. And in due course of time, we can actually truly develop, as you said, the true sense of appreciating things, the true sense of gratitude. So this Bhakti Tirtha Swami had an aunt who was experiencing cancer, and she was in excruciating pain at that point in time. And he was speaking to her, and he said, "How are you doing?" And she has this mantra whenever she would greet anyone. He said, "How are you doing?" She said, "I'm blessed by the best." That was her attitude. I am blessed by the best. How else would I be doing?
And then Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj added to that for us, you know, to his aunt's sutra, his aunt's mantra, "I'm blessed by the best and I expect nothing less." Yeah.
So attitude is crucial. We
Yes.
can always change the channel. And the devotees are there to assist us in changing the channel. And Krishna is always with us through the chanting of the holy names.
So check with yourself today. What challenge or challenges are in my life that I am grateful for? Ask yourself that question. Yeah. And see, are you grateful? Are you not grateful? Can I start practicing being grateful for those challenges that may be coming in my life? You know, what thoughts that are not serving me to become a better servant of the devotees or of people in general, of humanity? What thoughts may be going on in my head that I'm not, that's just, you know, like a distraction? How can I be grateful for those thoughts so I can empower myself to move beyond them? What can I do? Where do I take where's my shelter? Do I go to reading, to hearing about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes? Do I chant? Do I take the association of the devotees? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It's all about acting. Okay, Itu, I don't know. I think are we going over the time?
Yeah.
We have gone over the time. Can I steal one question?
Sure. I see Nilachala is here. So grateful
Yes,
to
Nila, correct, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
I appreciate that you've kind of answered a lot of the questions I had. We've gone through our capacity to feel grateful, and I think you've also covered the phases that we go through in terms of experiencing this gratitude, which I really appreciate. I'm curious to know, with both understanding the capacity and the phases, how do we experience gratitude in relation to respecting the other feelings and emotions that we also have? So how do you carry both gratitude, which seems very all-encompassing, very weighty? Ekavira Prabhu described it as a transcendental quality of the mind. But we also want to learn to be curious and respectful of the other heavy emotions that we might carry as well. So how do we balance the two?
Mm-hmm. We spoke about, honest introspection. First and foremost, being honest and understanding that Krishna always is available, and in many cases he's available, like we said, expressed through holy names, and he's available through the devotees. Sometimes it's difficult to balance, different emotions. And so therefore, that's why it's important to take shelter of other devotees. For instance, like in my case with this Vrajalila expressed that Bali Maharaj, he's, we're very close. We came to Krishna consciousness together, or we came at the same time. We didn't come together. We didn't know each other before that. We came within one week. As a matter of fact, it may have even been the same week. We moved to the Institute in Washington, D.C. We came to get to Nagari together. We served together all the years. And so we're very close. And he's at this point going to leave the body. We don't know when, but he's going to leave. And we contracted COVID. I was the likely and initial carrier of COVID. And he contracted it from me. And so there is this underlying mood of, or emotion of regretfulness, you know, that I was the instrument in actually carrying COVID. And so accessing gratitude for the experience that we're going through now is not as easy for me. And that's one of the things that I was expressing to Vrajalila. It's something that I'm dealing with it. Yes, and I assist others with their grief and challenges. At the same time, I'm not beyond these particular emotions, and they're real. And so therefore, I have to, it helps to, you know, look at these different emotions honestly. Don't fight them. If we need to cry, we go cry. That was one of the challenges I had coming before you today. I was like, oh man, we're going to Wusa. And that's one thing throughout the continent. It's not appreciated for men to cry, you know? And so, and that's something that is, it blocks us from actually balancing these particular emotions, because, you know, we all need to cry. We all need to cry. Ultimately, we need to cry out for Krishna, the Lord. And so, you know, being honest with ourselves, taking shelter of those persons to help us with balancing these emotions, writing our gratitude journal, you know, reflecting on these just conflicting emotions, and then speaking about that to those devotees that are near and dear to us. It's one of the loving exchanges, 6 loving exchanges, revealing our mind and confidence. And so through this communication with another devotee, we can reconcile these conflicting emotions. They may not ever go away. However, we can reconcile. And one way we can know whether or not we are reconciling, we're making progress, is that we can talk about it. And we're not fearful of talking about it. And so therefore, I'm grateful for coming before you today, because I can talk about Bali Maharaj and my own different challenge and grappling with, you know, this mood of gratitude, and that Bali Maharaj had a desire to, you know, leave for quite some time. And so therefore, Vrajalila helped me to deal with that particular emotion that I had of regret and remorse. And she expressed that, yeah, Bali had this particular mood of a desire to actually leave, and you're just being used, you were used as an instrument to help facilitate that, you know. So that's an example of appreciating and having gratitude for the devotees that are in our lives. Vrajalila ki jai.
Ekavira ki jai.
Let's see. Oh, that was so sweet. I'm sorry. We have one more question in the chat. I suspect you might have touched on it already, but I don't want to take away the person's agency. It says, can gratitude be weaponized? As in, where those who have been introduced to Krishna consciousness by others are held ransom by them somewhat, expecting gifts, alliances, resources to give of their lives, etc.
So there was a breakup at one point The ransom, right before it starts, ransom. So if I could hear that part of it again.
So it was the example by being held ransom by them somewhat, expecting gifts, alliances, resources, to give their lives, etc.
Did you say expect these? Okay.
Yes,
So-
expecting gifts and alliances and resources. Yes. So basically being held ransom in those ways, for example.
Well, okay. Firstly, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we are coming into an organization of people. And everyone is on this road, are in different levels of consciousness. And some people's level of consciousness may still be conditioned by things from the material world. Because coming to this organization, the organization itself is like a hospital. It's like a hospital where everyone is ill, everyone is sick, have a disease and trying to get cured of that disease. And the cure ultimately is love of God. That's the cure, that we have a relationship with God. We get to remember. So we have all these memories from our conditioned life. So if we can understand that when we come to Krishna consciousness, if we're told that when we initially come, look, you're becoming a part of an organization that has people that are imperfect and they're conditioned, and some of whatever conditioning of material life may have been there for them, it more than likely will be there in the organization. And so we need to be aware of that, right? We need to be aware. I believe that people need to be aware that this is a healing organization to go back to God. I think that's done beautifully in Christianity, where when people come, they learn that. They learn, you're not pure, and we're not pure. We're not pure. We're evolving in our purity because we have all these memories. Having said that, we have choices to allow ourselves to be taken as that word ransom, if I'm understanding that correctly, that we might allow others, to impose different things on us, perhaps because we might not be at that level of consciousness and our awareness that we don't have to accept being a certain way. We may also be evolving, right? We may be like somebody that want to please everyone. We sometimes have that in our conditioning. I'm like a people pleaser, or like I am a rescuer of others. I'm just going to rescue this person. So if this person says, I want this, I want that, I want that. Yeah, you're the rescuer. So you're going to rescue them, right? You're going to give it. So we need to learn ourselves about ourselves as we are on this path, because it is a road and we are bringing all of our material stuff on this road. And as we chant and as we hear about Krishna, we travel that road and we let go some of those things. We let some of them, start getting minimized, and to a point where, like a mountain becomes like a pebble, like a small pebble. So they're not so present. So the most important part, I think, is for us to be honest, as Ekavira Prabhu says, with ourselves. And that's not easy, to be honest with ourselves. Most of the time, we don't want to face ourselves. We don't want to face who we are. It's so much easier to blame somebody else for what's going on with us. And so as we face ourselves, then we come out of that blame game and we take responsibility. Oh, I wasn't aware that I am a people pleaser, but now I'm aware. So now I'm going to, act differently. And I'm grateful that I went through that to help me to understand I'm a people pleaser. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you. And move on. say, hey, I'm leaving you behind. Does that help you it too? Does that help whoever the person is that asked the question? I hope so.
Yes, I personally found it helpful. I hope it did help the person on the receiving end as well. I think we can bring the workshop to a close right now. So I'm going to go through a number of WUSA announcements, and I would please like to encourage everybody who's already here to stay online right through to the end of the announcements. Mother Vrajalila and Ekavira, Prabhu, ordinarily I would ask that you also stay in case you have closing words at the end, but because of your circumstance, please feel free to go tend to your dear friend. Thank you again so much for being with us. This was really amazing. Yeah, so our deepest gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. We're grateful.
Yes, we are so grateful that we could be here with you.
Hari Hari Bol. Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Hari Bol Banalo. Hari Bol Nila.
Bol.
Hari Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hari Bol, you too.
That is the end of Sunday Inspiration today. Thank you everybody for joining us, and please feel free to again visit the WUSA fundraiser, and the details are on the screen. So thank you everybody, and from me, it's good afternoon. Hare Krishna.